Good morning and welcome to your AI Future. I'm Marcus Reid, and today is Thursday, April 9th, 2026. We have a packed show. Meta just launched its first closed, proprietary AI model, and it is not called Llama. Anthropic's Project Glasswing is locking down a model so capable it found thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities across every major operating system. Intel jumped into Elon Musk's Terafab semiconductor megaproject and shares surged 11%. And global venture capital just set an all-time record in the first quarter, $300 billion in 90 days, with 81% going to AI companies.
Every one of those stories changes the competitive landscape for businesses this week, Marcus. Meta breaking its own open-source promise is a signal that the era of free frontier AI models may be ending. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, and let's get into it.
We start with Meta. The company launched Muse Spark this week, the first model out of its newly formed Meta Superintelligence Labs, led by Chief AI Officer Alexander Wong. Muse Spark ranked fourth on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, trailing only Gemini 3.1 Pro, GPT 5.4, and Claude Opus 4.6. Here is the headline that matters. Muse Spark is not open weights. This is the first Meta model that the public cannot download and run.
This is a significant brand reversal, and business leaders should understand why Meta is making it. Meta's open-source Llama strategy has been one of the defining AI stories of the last 2 years. It forced proprietary labs to compete on price and capability. By keeping Muse Spark closed, Meta is signaling that at the frontier level, open source is no longer the play, even for Meta. The question businesses need to ask is whether this is temporary, a single exception for their most powerful model, or the beginning of a permanent shift.
The business implications cut both ways. If you have built workflows or cost structures around the assumption that Meta will always release its best models freely, that assumption is now in question. On the other hand, Muse Spark reportedly uses an order of magnitude less compute than Llama 4 Maverick while matching frontier performance. That efficiency story is real, and it will matter enormously for API pricing when the model becomes available through Meta's platforms.
Meta is also running 2 tracks simultaneously: the proprietary Muse series for frontier competition and the open Llama series for developer adoption. That is a smart hedge, but it means the open-source AI ecosystem just lost its most powerful advocate at the frontier. The pressure that Llama put on OpenAI and Anthropic pricing may ease if Meta's best work is no longer in the open pool. Watch developer adoption over the next 2 quarters. That will tell us how much Muse Spark changes the market dynamics.
Story 2. Anthropic and Project Glasswing. This story was first reported yesterday, but the full scope is becoming clearer today. Anthropic has built a model called Claude Mythos Preview that it considers too dangerous to release publicly. During internal testing, Mythos found zero-day security vulnerabilities across every major operating system and every major web browser. Rather than release it, Anthropic created a controlled partnership program with over 40 organizations, including Amazon Web Services, Apple, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, CrowdStrike, and Palo Alto Networks.
The cybersecurity implications here are significant. Anthropic has committed $100 million in usage credits to Glasswing partners and has explicitly said there are no current plans to release Mythos publicly. The New York Post described the model as raising fears of an AI doomsday if released, citing its ability to generate weapons we cannot even envision. Whether or not that framing is accurate, the underlying point is real. Anthropic believes this model is a qualitative leap in capability and is choosing access restriction over open deployment.
For the businesses in the Glasswing coalition, this is a significant defensive advantage. Your cloud provider and your security tools vendor will have early access to the most powerful vulnerability-finding AI ever built. For businesses outside the coalition, the risk asymmetry grows. The same capabilities that Glasswing members use to find and patch vulnerabilities could eventually be replicated by threat actors. The practical takeaway for every business this week is the same as yesterday. If your security posture is not already in front of your board, it needs to be.
There is a broader governance question here that business leaders should track. Anthropic is effectively deciding, unilaterally, which organizations get access to the most powerful AI capabilities. That is a form of market power that regulators have not caught up with yet. The Economist published a piece today asking how dangerous Mythos actually is. That question will shape regulatory action in the next 12 to 18 months, and businesses with significant AI exposure should be monitoring the policy environment closely.
Third story: Intel and Terafab. Intel has officially joined Elon Musk's Terafab semiconductor project, a $20 to $25 billion chip complex planned at the North Campus of Giga Texas in Austin. Intel will work alongside SpaceX, xAI, and Tesla to consolidate chip design, fabrication, memory production, and advanced packaging under one roof. The goal is to produce 1 terawatt per year of compute, enough to power Musk's robotics and data center ambitions at scale. Intel shares surged more than 11% on the announcement, closing at $58.95.
This is a turnaround story for Intel that matters beyond the chip industry. Intel has been losing ground to NVIDIA and AMD in the AI accelerator market for 3 years. Terafab gives them a major anchor customer with a clear roadmap: humanoid robotics, autonomous vehicles, satellite-based AI, and frontier model training. For Intel shareholders, this is the clearest signal yet that the company's AI strategy has a viable path. For businesses thinking about AI infrastructure, the Terafab announcement reinforces a point we have made several times. The bottleneck is compute, and every major player is racing to solve it.
The scale of what is being built here is worth sitting with. Terafab is not a data center expansion. It is a vertically integrated semiconductor complex at gigafactory scale, designed to produce chips from raw materials to finished product on a single campus. Combined with SoftBank and the Department of Energy breaking ground this week on the world's largest AI data center in Ohio at 10 gigawatts of capacity, the infrastructure investment happening right now is generational. For businesses, the implication is timing. The compute shortage that has constrained AI deployment for 2 years will ease, but not uniformly and not immediately.
For the companies building on Musk's infrastructure stack, Tesla, SpaceX, xAI, Terafab represents a degree of vertical integration that competitors cannot easily match. They will control chips, training, deployment, and application in a single ecosystem. That concentration of capability is both a competitive advantage and a systemic risk for the broader market. Any business that depends on compute from a small number of hyperscalers should be thinking about that concentration now before the market tightens further.
Final story: venture capital broke every record in the first quarter of 2026. Crunchbase data confirms that investors poured $300 billion into approximately 6,000 startups globally in Q1 alone, up more than 150% year over year. AI startups captured $242 billion of that total. That is 81% of all global venture capital in the quarter. The 4 largest rounds: OpenAI at $122 billion, Anthropic at $30 billion, xAI at $20 billion, and Waymo at $16 billion.
Put those numbers in context, Marcus. Q1 venture funding alone equaled nearly 70% of all venture capital spending in all of 2025. This is not a gradual ramp. This is a vertical line. The money flowing into AI infrastructure, foundation models, and applications right now is reshaping the entire technology investment landscape. For businesses, this means 2 things. The AI tools and platforms you rely on are being funded aggressively and will continue to evolve rapidly. And the competitive pressure from AI-native startups in your industry is going to accelerate significantly in the next 18 months.
The concentration of that capital matters. The 4 largest rounds, totaling $188 billion, went to a handful of frontier labs. That means the organizations setting the pace of AI capability development are extremely well capitalized and not facing near-term funding constraints. For enterprise buyers, that stability is reassuring. For startups trying to compete at the frontier level, the capital moat around the top labs has never been wider.
The practical business read on Q1 funding is this: the bet that AI will replace significant portions of white-collar work is no longer a speculative bet. It is the consensus position of the world's capital allocators. The question for every business leader is not whether that disruption is coming. It is whether you are positioned to capture the upside before your competitors are.
That is our show for Thursday, April 9th, 2026. Today's through line: The frontier AI landscape is consolidating around a small number of extremely well-funded players. Access to the most capable models is being rationed rather than opened, and the infrastructure race is moving faster than most organizations' planning cycles. If those dynamics do not show up in your AI strategy this quarter, they will show up in your competitive results next year. We will see you tomorrow.
Stay ahead of the curve. This is your AI future.